It is time for a little football at 4 for you here, and we will be talking about your Carolina Panthers. But first, a curveball. But what should I say? Gadget play. We're talking about football. A gadget play for you. Daniel Jones, former Duke quarterback, has found himself a new job. Daniel Jones, released by the New York Giants a couple weeks ago. New York Giants did so well in the week after his release. And that is sarcasm. Daniel Jones has a new home. Daniel Jones is playing now for the Minnesota Vikings. He wanted to go to a place that had some playoff aspiration. But he's in the mix because Sam Darnold is there. There's a couple other guys too. And J.J. McCarthy is on the injured list. He'll be back next season. So where does that truly leave Daniel Jones? There is a bug in front of this microphone that is driving me nuts. So where does that leave Daniel Jones? Why would he choose a place like Minnesota? Perhaps it's about rehabilitation. Perhaps it's about finding himself a chance to honestly just get a ring. But he is a better option than what is available to them in Minnesota. And he looked at the landscape and goes, if I want to be a backup somewhere, this is where I'm going to be. Because I'm cheap and nobody has to worry about me there. Nick Mullins is the backup quarterback. Nick Mullins, who you know from the San Francisco 49ers a few seasons ago. But that is the short term, for sure. But do you pair instead of Sam? Remember, Sam Darnold is a one-year rental piece. Daniel Jones could be the backup to J.J. McCarthy. We have seen backup quarterbacks rehab their image and rehab themselves into starting roles in the NFL. It is not unheard of. Opportunities come all the time. Ask Joe Flacco. Ask Jameis Winston, who is the quarterback in Cleveland and all of a sudden has found himself the belle of the ball on a losing team. Ask Baker Mayfield, who bounced around this league so much and then found himself an Obi-Wan. An Obi-Wan and Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, who has changed the way Baker Mayfield thought about the quarterback position, changed the way Baker Mayfield operated in that position. And now, Baker Mayfield leads the struggling Tampa Bay Buccaneers into Charlotte on Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. Dave Canales, who I like to call the Golden Retriever, head coach Dave Canales of your Carolina Panthers, talking about balancing the play and playing really well, but also having to come to the fact that his team's still taking L's.
For me, it's always a weekly focus. The focus is on us and our execution. So as we look at the game and you watch the film, we see the opportunities missed. Mm-hmm. I see calls I'd like to have back. I see tackles I'd love for our guys to make. I see catches I'd love for us to make. Different technique things that would have allowed us to have more success in this game and possibly put us into the lead a couple of times, throughout the game. Some critical areas where, Pat was able to extend plays, and keep drives going. And so I just look at it that way. I have to.
Graham, what's the saying about close?
Close but no cigar.
There's that, and close only counts when it comes to
hand grenade. It's something with hand grenades.
Hand grenades and horseshoes.
Thank you.
They were close, I guess. They were playing the Kansas City Chiefs. They had nothing to lose. It was right up until the end, right? When they let Pat Mahomes do Pat Mahomes things.
Yep. Best way to say it.
And so the Carolina Panthers now have 6 games remaining, of which they are 3-8. But the game on Sunday, and you hope the same vibe. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about when you play a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. And I came to this realization on Monday after that game, slept on it, felt a little bit good about it. I was like, for the first time in a while, watching the Carolina Panthers lose a football game made it feel like an actual loss. Like there was enough hope, and maybe Dave Canales Pavloved us crazy. It was close enough and made us feel good enough about our performance, in which Bryce Young played very, very well, in which even with Chuba Hubbard not going for 75 yards or 100 rushing yards, in offense, without a Jalen Coker out there and Jadeveon Sanders who took that nasty spill on his head, that this team was still in it right until the end. And we were okay this time with a loss because we played so well.
I think another part of it too is, as you mentioned, even though it was a loss, just the first 2 weeks of this season, you would have thought that the Panthers might match their win total of last year as far as just winning 2 games. But that game against the Kansas City Chiefs showed that this team has grown tremendously in just these past 3 weeks. Carolina forced Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to compete down to the final stretch. They needed Patrick Mahomes, as you mentioned, to do Patrick Mahomes things in order to win. That's a big compliment to the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young looked like he belonged in the NFL. He threw for over 200 yards, had a touchdown, showing not only accuracy, but poise under pressure against one of the NFL's best defenses. That's all you could really ask for as a Carolina Panthers fan.
But I'm setting you up, Graham. I'm setting you up.
Come on, Paul. Don't do it.
Dave Canales talking about Bryce Young's growth. You just talked about it too.
It goes way back, and it's just the progression he's taken every week of just pressing into the game plans, being involved in all the conversations of how we're trying to attack, having answers to different things. And then when he got his opportunity, building week after week, and then applying the lessons from this game to the following week of practice and then to the next game. Collecting more lessons and applying it to the next game. And so that's what he's been doing, is just stacking days and stacking weeks. And that's what I'm most proud of about what he's doing.
So he's becoming a professional football player. He's becoming a professional quarterback. And that's fine. And Bryce Young, for me to hit the prop that I bet on, you need to throw for 355 yards this week against Tampa. And then again a week after that and a week after that. It's all fun, right? Sports betting is fun. But I want to go back to where we were. Paul Ihander here in for Tim Donnelly today here on The Drive. Graham Hill is here as well on 99.9 The Fan. Where I'm setting you up is this fact, that they are playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as good as it felt in terms of that was a true NFL loss, the most disappointing thing could happen on Sunday. And I want to stay on the bright side, and I really want to make sure that this comes out as positive as it sounds, because I don't want regression. I don't want to feel like the next game is an okay loss. There should be no okay losses moving forward in the NFL. I'm coming to the grips with that with the Panthers. I want to make sure that we understand that I was okay on Sunday because it felt like an actual NFL loss. It didn't feel like a total thrashing at the hands of a garbage New Orleans team. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming in on Sunday. They are 5-6. And their get-right game was the same game that the Carolina Panthers used to get right as well. The New York Giants. And it came last Sunday. And so, as we fire up the Panthers' paw print, which will give you the keys, our keys, to a Carolina Panthers victory against the New York Giants, presented by your Carolina Ford dealers, I want to make sure that the get-right game for Tampa Bay was a get-right game for 24 hours only, that the Carolina Panthers find a way to keep Baker Mayfield from getting that mojo back over and over again. And remember this team, the Tampa Bay team, early on in this season when they got out of the gates, Baker Mayfield was happy. He was playing with joy. They had wins over Washington. They had wins over Detroit. They had beaten Philadelphia. They were on fire. And then it fell apart. Baker Mayfield started throwing picks. But last week against the New York Giants, Baker Mayfield got some swagger back. He started quipping in the post-game press conferences, asking if he was Italian and whatnot, making the hand gesture that Tommy DeVito, whatever his name is, who's not even going to play this week. Does it even matter?
No, you're right. It doesn't.
That Mayfield all of a sudden had that swagger back. And that's what the Carolina Panthers need to do. Not give Mayfield that swagger back. Because when he plays with swagger, Baker Mayfield, the prime pupil of a Dave Canales who understands this guy's ins and outs, Baker Mayfield with swagger plays some hella good football. There's my key to keeping the Panthers in the win column this week.
My key to the game for the Carolina Panthers, part of Panthers paw print here on the drive with Tim Donnelly, is something they did very well last week, and that is win the turnover battle. The Panthers must continue their improved play by protecting the ball and creating takeaways. Bryce Young needs to maintain his composure, avoid costly mistakes against the Bucs defense that thrives on forcing turnovers. On the defensive side of the ball, Carolina should leverage on Canales' insights into Mayfield's tendency. After all, he was his OC for a full year, folks. Carolina has to generate interceptions or fumbles. Winning the turnover battle is critical in what could be a tightly contested divisional matchup.
Mike, drop.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
No. That's what it is. That's where we feel. That's where we need to be. That's where Graham and myself feel the Carolina Panthers need to get a dub against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is crucial for them to at least stay within some sort of arm's reach of this NFC South, which is still up for grabs if you can believe that. So I always say, and you've heard me say this during Next Up from 9 to 10 every morning here on this station, 99.9 The Fan, hope is a dangerous mistress.
I mean, how great is it that, one, I can finally wear a Carolina Panthers pullover with some pride, and two, that we can do a Panthers paw prick and actually say stuff like we don't have to say stuff like throw the ball well, or, start Bryce Young, or just run the ball.
Run the ball to Chuba Hubbard 80 times.
We can actually provide some insight. I mean, that's what, and I guess we're getting back to your original point. That's what hope does for you as a fan once you see your team kind of taste a little bit of success. And again, I know it was a loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no more victories in sports, but their performance last week should count as a win. Or not count as a win, but it should be a win for this fan base.
Being okay with that loss is okay. I don't want to be okay with any more losses moving forward. I want hard-fought dubs, or I want close losses that I'm going to agonize for a while. That's one of those games that was one of those signature moments for this team. They almost had it. But as we just said, close, horseshoes, hand grenades. Yeah, that's where we're at.